Hi.
It's here. You are?
Thank you.
Have a good day.
All right, we're in.
We're in Yellowstone.
And away we go.
So we're heading to our campground, which is between Yellowstone National Park and Grand Tetons National Park. I didn't realize that we would have to enter Yellowstone in order to drive to the campground. So we're hauling our fifth wheel through the gates of Yellowstone. That's pretty fun. Well, we got a little sneak peek of Yellowstone as we drove to our campground today because we came in at the very top north entrance at the Montana border and then drove into Wyoming all the way through the park to past the southern entrance and out to Flagg Ranch Campground. Now, this campground is right between Yellowstone National Park and Grand Tetons National Park. We are in a perfect location.
Yeah, it's great.
We splurged a little bit for this. We're going to be here for 4 nights. I think it was a little over $100 a night, but we figured it was worth it. We haven't really gone all out on this big Pacific Northwest trip, and this is definitely worth it. So we've just dropped off the rig, and we're going to quick go out and see what we can do late afternoon here because Yellowstone is so massive that we only have 2 full days here, actually 2 afternoons because we're still working in the mornings. And then on our 3rd day here, we're going to do Grand Teton National Park. So we're going to squeeze in as much as we can. So the driving loops of Yellowstone are kind of in a figure 8 pattern. There's a lower circle and an upper circle, and then there's kind of spokes that go off in different directions. So we're on the eastern side of the 8 today at Lake Village, and this beautiful yellow hotel here is the Lake Yellowstone Hotel. This is Lake Yellowstone behind me that the hotel looks over. Now, some things in Yellowstone are not open yet for the season. A lot of things here don't open until June. But we just want to see inside of some of these beautiful historic buildings. Yellowstone was the very first national park in the United States, commissioned in 1872. And the Lake Hotel is the oldest standing hotel in any national park in the U.S. It was built in 1889. Goodness, things can turn quickly around here. The next village up on the east side is Canyon Village. The visitor center closed before we got here, but the little general store and deli and restaurant and gift shop is open, so let's check it out. All right, so here's our set. Just outside of Canyon Village is the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. It's where the Yellowstone River goes, and it makes a big canyon here. And there's a lower falls and an upper falls. You can drive the north rim and the south rim. So the snow has stopped, thankfully, although the trees are very pretty with their little snow covering. In addition to the famous geysers that are at Yellowstone, there's also areas of mud pits or mud flats. So we're doing a little hike here at the Mud Volcano, 2/3 mile hike that goes around this basin, and there's lots of little, I don't know, mud flats here. It smells really strongly of sulfur here too. There's across the road, there's a sulfur canyon, and then this mud pit area also smells really strongly of sulfur.
Scalding happened, it's the gases. So it's actually not
it's
boiling.
not boiling.
It is scalding, but the gases are what are being released that's making it churn like that, thus churning cauldron.
So right now, about 170 Fahrenheit. Okay. We've said it plenty of times before, but doing the national parks in the shoulder season, it's a secret hack. We have this whole mud pit to ourselves.
Helps it at the end of the day too.
That also helps that it's 39 degrees out.
Yeah, it's a little chilly, but it's lovely outside. It's not, at least it's not windy.
No, it's not. Oh, we saw a young grizzly bear. So beautiful. The ranger here is trying to get the grizzly bear to cross the street. I don't know why, but he's keeping an open spot in the middle of the road so the bear has room to cross. But he said that this is a young bear, maybe about 2 to 3 years old, that has just been released from its mother last week. So they must have been tracking it, but it is a grizzly.
The size of that bear is about the size of a large black bear. So grizzlies are bigger bears,
Yeah.
for sure.
How exciting. Okay, it's time for the main event. We are at Old Faithful Geyser. This is, of course, the most famous and central tourist destination in Yellowstone National Park. So Yellowstone seems to be broken up into little villages. Yesterday, we visited Lake Village and Canyon Village, and then today we're at Old Faithful Village. So this is kind of how they organize the park, and each village has some kind of lodging, a hotel, a lodge, something like that, campgrounds, gas station, restaurants, gift shops. So the Old Faithful complex is, I think, the largest one in the park. There's a big inn here and a lodge and a visitor center and a bunch of other stuff to see, not just the geyser. Now, Old Faithful is not the tallest geyser and it's not the largest geyser, but it is the most faithful, which means that it's the most predictable. It erupts on average, 60 to 90 minutes. And if you go on the National Park app, it will give you the predicted time of the next one. They can't predict it exactly, but within about 10 minutes, either side, they're going to tell you what time the next eruption is. So it makes it really easy for tourists to plan and to get here on time and then go see it and then, leave. Some of the other geysers, they will still predict the times, but it might be like plus or minus an hour. It's going to erupt in this time window. So we're going to enjoy Old Faithful, and then we're going to start traveling up the west side of the park today and maybe see some other geysers. Maybe we'll get lucky enough to see another eruption.
They just have a little squirt.
Yeah.
Not rubber. I got my shirt. Oh, what the heck? Okay. Yep, I'm I'll feel the heat. And the bison so wandered in.
Oh, A bison wandered into the Old Faithful Inn. Oh my. Fort Wilderness at Disney World did an excellent job of copying the Yellowstone Inn. Amazing, amazing similarity.
Which is interesting because we don't have.
And out on the porch of the Old Faithful Inn, they've got all these bench seating so that you can see the Old Faithful geyser erupt right here. Wow. That bison was a little close for comfort. One of the staff people came out of the inn and tried to shoo it away. And then now someone's announcing over the loudspeaker in the whole visitor center area, stay at least 25 yards away from the bison because it can run 35 miles an hour and it will jump over that fence. Boy.
Till you punch to his death.
Yep. Don't go off the boardwalk. This is a hot springs area. It's called a geyser, but the geysers here have not erupted for many, many years. So they're calling it a hot springs area. Grand Prismatic Spring is the largest hot spring in the U.S. The sun came out, now you can see all the pretty colors. Said in previous videos about the national parks that most of them are really good driving parks. You can just drive in the internal infrastructure and get a really good sense of the park, see out to the main vistas, you know, and over the cliffs and the redwood trees and whatever. But I've been thinking this week while we've been at Yellowstone that this is not a really good driving park. When you're driving on the road, you can kind of see the smoke from the geysers off in the distance, but you can't see up close of anything really. You do need to kind of get out of your car and hike up the boardwalk out to the things to see them. So I just wanted to make that note. Now, Old Faithful is very accessible. It's kind of right next to the parking lot, basically. So you can park at the visitor center, and it's just a very short walk to see Old Faithful. Except for the wild animals, of course. You can see plenty of wild animals driving through Yellowstone. The warm mist from the Norris geyser basin
a little bit.
smells really strongly of sulfur. Thanks for coming with us to beautiful Yellowstone this week. Of course, it's the first and biggest national park in the country, so it's high on our bucket list and should be on yours if you're interested in national parks. Next week, we are going to explore the Grand Teton National Park because it is right next door. Our campground is in between the two national parks, and instead of turning left to Yellowstone, we're going to turn right to the Grand Teton. So we'll see you there next time. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.